What is up there, everybody? Citrus Aviation here for yet another video. Today we have a model review for y'all, and today this is the Korean Air 777-300ER in the 50 Years of Excellence livery, and this was a March 2019 release by JC Wings. It arrived in retailers about a year later. So let's get started with this review, and we'll talk about the model and see what we come up with for a rating. So we're going to start off with the box here, and as you can tell, this is a very simple box. It's an orange box with a little card essentially in the middle section of the model. Very simple box, and this is a typical JC Wings style box, particularly for ones if they aren't so sure about licensing. They'll do these orange boxes. This one is in the flaps down configuration. You could have also gotten this in the standard config, which we'll talk about in the value section. So as you open the box up, you can tell it's kind of really nicely presented. You lift it up almost like an iPhone or an iPad, and then inside the model's inside the tray, and this little piece that holds the tray in place. You take out the tray, and then on the bottom there is a nice little card that shows some of the information about your model. It gives you a nice little picture on the front, and on the back side it gives you some info about the aircraft. It would have been really cool if they had done what in-flight does, and that is basically give you your run number. So basically tell you which number in the series your model is. That would be super cool. It's a collectible thing. I like it when companies do that. JC Wings does not do that, but it would be super cool if they did. The model comes in a plastic cradle and does seem to be pretty nicely cradled in here. It's a typical clear plastic cradle with two seats of plastic, one on the top of the model, one on the bottom to protect it. Overall, the protection is very good. Not as good if they use the foam as what NG models and most 1-200 manufacturers use. So for overall, the packaging is pretty nice. So I'm going to give the packaging an 8 out of 10. Could be better. It's presented nicely, but still could provide a little more protection for your models. Next up, we have the model itself, and this model is just simply gorgeous. The livery is really nicely done on this model overall, and I think JC Wings did a fantastic job modeling the Korean Air livery and the 777 in general. I have not been able to find any paint chips on this model, so I'm going to give paint a 10 out of 10. I want to particularly point out the Beyond 50 Years of Excellence title on the rear section of the aircraft, which is very nicely printed, and it seems to be really super nicely detailed. And once again, no paint chips in it, which is very nice. The mold is very good. This is not the best 777 mold, as there are better ones out there, but it's still good. Like, the model is still pretty good as far as 777. It is a bit too high, as this is the older Jet Slant JC Wings mold, which has some height issues. It also doesn't have as many Wi-Fi boxes as some other models do, so I'll have to take 2 points off for that. So I'm going to give the mold an 8 out of 10. Still pretty decent mold, but apparently there's a new JC Wings mold I really want to try with the Cathay flaps down 333, so that will be a review for the future. So the next part of the model that we are going to move on to is the gear and the wings and engines. The gear on this aircraft is the typical Jet 777 gear. The wheels don't really roll much at all. The nose gear does a little bit, but the main bogies on the center of the aircraft, right below the wings, they kind of struggle to roll, as you can see here, and they really just don't want to roll at all. My apologies for the dust and such on the model. I haven't cleaned this off before doing the review, so my apologies there, but you can see that they don't roll very well. However, they do have some nice features. They do tilt in both directions, which is very good to see. And so with that being said, I do have to take off a point for the gear not really rolling very well, but it is nicely featured, so I'm going to give that a 9 out of 10. The wing and engines, this is something that's really interesting, because I went with the flaps down configuration of this model, which means you get the flaps and slats sewn in the fully extended position as if it was coming into land. And as you can see, it looks amazing on this model. I was really excited to get this one because I have a couple of 787s from JC Wings, and they look nice, but the 777 flaps are a little bit more complicated, so I really wanted to see how they handle it. And from first impressions, it looks they handled it very well. You can see they didn't sew some of the holes in between it flaps, and that's because that could cause some issues with the structure and the strength of the wing. So instead they kind of have it just kind of molded over, but even still it looks really good. This appears to be a single molding casting for the wing, which is still very nice looking at the detail on the slats and the flaps. They do stow the 2-stage 777 flaps pretty nicely, and overall this is really nice. This is by far the best implementation of a flaps down that I've seen, and it looks amazing. It adds a lot of interest and detail to your model. So I have to give this a 10 out of 10 for the wing and engine section, because they did do a really nice job. So we're now moving on to the quality of the model, and considering the fact that this is a flaps down model and it has a lot of complicated parts, you would think that there might be some issues with it. However, I've not really found too many quality control issues on this model. Jets does struggle sometimes with their molds and the fact that they can have quality issues. This JC Wings model though doesn't really have anything other than the wheels being kind of an issue. But other than those rolling wheels, this model is excellent, so I'm going to give this a 9 out of 10 for the quality of the model. It's really well done and very happy about it. Features. This model will get a 10 out of 10 for features. It has the landing gear that tilt in the correct directions for both land and takeoff. It has the flaps down, which is a unique feature and looks super awesome. So I'm very happy about the features, and I'm going to give this a 10 out of 10 for features. And then we move on to value and collectability. So the value of the model is going to depend on how much you paid for it. If you paid the full MSRP for this model, which I believe is $52, not really worth it. It's a bit overpriced at that price, but I paid $47 for it, which is what you're going to get from a retailer. Still kind of expensive for a 777, but the flaps down detail is unique and there's not really many other places you can get for it. So I'm going to give the value an 8 out of 10. Not amazing, but still good. And then finally, collectability. This is a Korean Air model, and Korean Air models tend to go for really high values and prices on the used market. So for that, it's definitely going to get a 10 out of 10. This is going to become an expensive model, and a lot of people are going to get these. I realize that the Beyond 50 Years of Excellence livery has already been repainted, taken off this aircraft, but it looks really good, and there's not too many Korean Air models that you can get. Plus the sticker isn't like covering the entire aircraft, just a little section in the back. So it's really not too disruptive at all. So overall, this is a really, really nice model. And with that being said, let's give our tally and final concluding thoughts on the model. So overall, this model gets a 90 out of 100, which is a recommendation for me. If you get a score of 90 out of 100 or better, let's definitely recommend model. It's a quality model aircraft, and I really like it overall. It does have some issues, which is why it doesn't get a better score, but overall it's an excellent model. It slots in just below my NG model SkyTeam Delta 738, which is also an amazing model. The Korean Air JC Wings 777 is very nice. I'm really excited to get one of the new JC Wings 777s and see how good the newer mold for JC Wings is, to see how much of an improvement it is. So that is it for this review. I really recommend the model if you could pick it up and you're looking for a Korean Air model to your airport. Excellent choice. It'll fit really well. And yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching. Have a great rest of the day, and God bless you.